Hello, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba. This is Amy Castle.
Hello.
Amy Castle from It's Amy Castle's her YouTube channel.
Yes.
Amy, it's
Yes.
Halloween.
It is not yet.
Oh, it's coming upon
Don't
us.
rush
it's
it.
coming upon. Don't rush Halloween.
Okay, I can't handle it. Costco. It's already Christmas. So let's just take one holiday at a time.
Have you ever been on the deep web? I've seen some of your videos on the deep web.
They're deep. Well,
Yeah.
How deep are we going in this
Top
web?
5 unknowns, 5 deep web browsing stories found on the internet.
I mean, okay. Sometimes I get 2 a.m. I just get on the web and I'm looking
Yeah.
at stuff and it's a rabbit hole and it's scary.
The deep web is a great place to go. I'm telling you, the most positive filled inducing videos you'll ever see, and I'm hoping Top 5 Unknowns really explores that.
I feel like lies are coming out of your mouth.
No. I'm the last thing from a liar, is what he said as he lied.
The deep web is often highly regarded as one of the most disturbing, mysterious areas of the internet.
So,
While the deep web isn't necessarily any more dangerous than the surface web, its anonymity certainly does entice some pretty strange people and businesses to come about.
ooh,
Yeah.
yes, it does. Number 5. I'm already excited.
This was back before Google. Web pages were, for the most part, still very basic HTML with JavaScript.
Yeah.
Hardly anyone used CSS. Only discussion boards and some banking sites had any approaching mature front-end or back-end combinations. This is technically a real deep web story, just not one about illicit activities online.
Okay.
I was
Right.
browsing random blogs, GeoCity sites, and the like, just going from link to link. Eventually, I came upon an odd page. It appeared to be random thoughts from different people, but for the time, it was very well designed. The messages seemed to be cryptic in nature, like several people trying to pass secret notes. I started through the source, and hidden in the comments of a JavaScript were various IP addresses. I gathered all of the IP addresses in a text file and began enumerating. Some were routers with banner messages I could telnet to, almost all at universities. The default Cisco credentials from back in the day worked on most of them, but I didn't really poke around. A few of the IPs were for web servers with little to nothing on them, mostly Apache or Linux or some BSD, at least one IIS server I can recall. I finally came upon a web page with a huge directory of HTML files and TIFF images, with a few smaller subdirectories containing the same. A DNS lookup returned no reverse records for the IP. A visual route traced it as far as Colorado. The HTML files appeared to be records of a psychologist or similar mental health professional would keep. The images were of faxes, apparently of both military and medical nature. As I browsed from a subdirectory back to the parent, at the top of the page was a new HTML file named 1-hellothere.html.
Ooh.
The timestamp was from right at that minute. I opened it up, and in plain text there was a message saying, "We see you." No quotes, all lowercase. About 15 seconds later, the server dropped.
What?
Whoa.
Baby! Oh,
I
good
write
deep
about
web.
the dark web. That's my job. So I've spent pretty much every day for the past 4 or 5 years digging around in there. I've sat through fake red rooms, had fake hitmen try to bribe and then frighten me into taking down my stories about them, and had accounts on every major online black market that ever existed.
Okay.
I do a little crawl every few days to see what new sites have popped up and visit most of them. The most frightening experience I have ever had is coming face to face with Lux, the owner of Pedo Empire and Hurt to the core, the most evil and reviled person on the entire dark
Pedo
web.
Empire.
He was responsible for procuring and hosting Daisy's Destruction, the most repulsive video ever made, created by Peter Scully, whose crimes were so bad the Philippines are considering reinstating the death penalty, especially for him.
Whoa.
It wasn't frightening because Lux was frightening. He was anything but. It was frightening because he looked so inoffensive and normal. It was frightening because he was living proof that monsters such as Lux walk among us and we may never know.
I need to look up what that video's
Yeah. Okay.
When I was still underage, 14 to be exact, I started to learn about the deep web or dark web or whatever. It started out as me being cool because I was able to access it or whatever when I showed my friends. Also to look at drug prices on different websites. Anyhow, eventually I discovered the CP network. And well, as a teenage boy, I started visiting the chat rooms pretty often. I didn't say much, just watched the creepy old men talk about different things. Sometimes there would be link dumps of hundreds of different CP. I tried resisting from it, knowing it was wrong, but I didn't hold out long with my tendencies. I started visiting the rooms more often and getting to know more of the people on them. I even started talking to a few of them. I can't remember when, but one day I started talking to a guy who asked me how old I was. I don't know why I didn't lie and tell him I was 49 or something, but I said 15. Well, he just so happened to have an interest in me. We talked some more, and then I realized I kind of enjoyed talking to an older man. I ended up sending a few pictures to him, and he logged off shortly thereafter. A few more people messaged me the next night, and the next, and so on. I probably sent hundreds of pictures and some videos of me using a crappy webcam I had. I talked to some of the darkest and most hated people on Earth, and I didn't think twice about it. It all came to an abrupt end when my PC died, and I had to wait a couple months to get a new one. I had thought about it a lot and decided it wasn't best for me to keep talking to these types of people
You
anymore,
think?
and I didn't install Tor on my new PC. I've never been able to tell anyone this due to its nature, but it feels good to get it off my chest.
Whoa.
Jeez.
You like tempted some pedophiles. Jeez.
Yeah.
I first learned about the deep web back in grade 10, when this really strange druggy kid in my grade was going on about it. We sat together in English and had a new teacher that wasn't very good and didn't really know how to control the class, so the last 20 minutes or so she would just let us do whatever. Everyone around this kid's desk, let's call him Eli, would crowd around his computer and watch him monkey around on the Silk Road and other websites that he found. No CP or anything, but drugs and hitmen and just weird things in general. I was kind of freaked out by it, so I tried to avoid looking, but I listened and it was pretty strange. Eventually, Eli decided to order drugs from some site. This is high school, so we all lived at home, so he figured he would order the DMT up to his cottage, go up for a weekend, and pick it up and hide it in his closet. So he typed in his address to some guy, worked out the details, and waited. He went up to his cottage the next weekend, and we all waited for him to return with his stories. Eli got back, and we all ran up to him to ask if it worked. He said it didn't, and he was really upset since he had already paid the guy. He complained to whoever was selling him the drugs, and the guy was really understanding and assumed the package was intercepted by the post office. He said he would send an even bigger package to his cottage this time, to make up for it. Eli went up the next weekend, but still nothing. The guy then told him once again that he would send another package, but still nothing. Eli gave up and figured the guy was just trying to make a quick buck. He left the deep web, and that was that. Though months later, Eli went up to his college with his family and had a big dinner party with the whole complex of cottages. He was wandering around when he overheard a group of elderly people talking about calling the cops. He stopped and asked them why, and they told him. They said that they had been consistently getting shipments of drugs every week. Turns out Eli had just typed in the wrong address, and the guy he was talking to had been sending more and more to the wrong people each week. I was super freaked out about this, and honestly a little bit upset, though he has since given up on the whole idea of drugs and is doing quite well for himself.
That's a way to get cleaner.
Yep.
Number 1.
1.
I lived in a fraternity house my junior year with about 16 other guys and about 45 in the chapter overall. We had actually been arguing about drugs in the house. About half of us were saying that allowing drugs was simply asking for trouble, and the other half wanted to use the charter house as a haven from campus security. Early on in the school year, a couple guys asked me and some of the other internet-savvy people about the deep web. I explained to them that I wasn't interested in helping, as they simply wanted to order drugs, and I didn't really hear anything else about it for a while. Though after a few months, some of the guys started talking about buying things off the Silk Road. I assumed they were just lazy and trying to get cheaper weed or shrooms or something. Turns out I was incorrect. They had ordered about $5,000 of MDMA and acid. This came to light on a sunny afternoon in April when armed members of Homeland Security investigations raided our home. I was upstairs overlooking the parking lot, and a bunch of guys were outside getting ready to go golfing. I watched a car pull up slowly, followed by another one that was bolting around the corner. The guys on the ground tell me that the driver of the second car got a little too excited. Apparently, he jumped out of the car with a taser drawn and screamed, quote, "Get on the ground or prepare to feel the thunder."
What?
To feel the thunder, everyone complied. The other, more level-headed agents went inside and rounded us all up to sit in the parking lot so they could search the house. I still had no idea what was going on at this point. After a little while, they explained who they were and what they were after. The aftermath was 2 guys that got arrested on felony drug trafficking.
Jeez.
1 got arrested on minor charges of possession. They arrested but didn't charge a 4th guy. He was the one whose house the drugs were sent to, but the guy genuinely had no idea what was in the packages. Another 2 guys got suspended for a year for suspected involvement. In the end, the 2 main guys got house arrest for a year and probation for 5 years. The other guys all transferred except for one who didn't get charges. He was released and graduated on time. As for the rest of us, we got our charter revoked and everyone just left it alone otherwise. Younger people around the campus are mostly scared of us now because the rumor mill made it sound like we were a violent drug
This guy
ring.
needs to get away from the team.
More accurately, we're just a group of idiots with a couple bigger idiots in our ranks.
Well, what I've learned is
Thank you
get
guys
on
so
the
much for
ground
watching.
or
If you
prepare to
like
feel
this
the
video,
thunder.
Also,
That's the
don't forget to
takeaway.
subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.
Subscribe to Top 5 Unknowns, guys. They're a great channel.
That first one was insane.
Oh,
We see you.
We see you,
That
and
was
then it
crazy.
dies.
That's
Oh, my.
crazy.
I can't tell you how many girls I've done that.
And just done.
Yeah, just
But
done.
no, these were, I mean, I was into this.
Normally, when I see Top 5 Unknowns, it's not stories of what this guy's actually been through. Or,
Is it all this one guy?
It's-
Or do you
it's
think
the
he's
same-
like,
I think it's a group of people that do Top 5 Unknowns.
okay, so they're all telling their
I think so. I'm not sure.
stories.
Normally they have like list videos just composed of like
Right.
certain incidences or whatever or facts. This is the first time where I'm like, whoa, all 5 of these stories are coming from this guy's own personal life of him exploring the deep web. That's pretty nuts to come across, like go through all these like bunch of terminology I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then come across a message that was linked to a psychologist that says, "We see
We
you."
see you?
I would never go on the deep web.
No!
I would never venture
You get
to the
too deep,
web.
you can't get out.
Oh, that's what it seems like what happened with this guy.
Yes!
'Cause he keeps telling these stories, and I'm like, this guy needs to get off the deep
Like, so
web.
then I was hanging out with these pedophiles online, so it's just like, well, okay, you're into
Yeah.
some deep stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
On the
It went
deep web.
way too far. I think about like how many other kids might have been involved in something like that. To be 15 years old, and then you're talking to someone, and you just feel like, oh, it's kind of cool getting approval of like an older person
Yeah,
liking me.
because you just don't really get it.
You know,
at
you're
that
not really
age, or-
comprehending what the hell's actually
No.
happening at this point. You know, a lot of us grow up with the idea, you know, respect the elders, and if older people like you, that means you're cool or something like that. I mean, I know I had that feeling when I was younger. I can only imagine how many other kids who could access the deep web got involved in situations like this.
Yeah.
Because he said he sent like hundreds of photos. He didn't say what photos he
No,
was
he left
sending.
that out.
I mean, even if it's just your face you're spreading around,
You're just-
like that is
yeah.
so disturbing to know how.
Yeah.
It's like a pedophile community out there.
Very disturbing, very creepy, but very well made video.
Very well made video. Yeah, it
Yeah.
allows you to put together a good YouTube video.
You know, it's
though.
a great video.
I'm glad you have these experiences so you can share them with us. It's a good thing you got that off his chest, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that I can imagine how having something like that can make you feel a little like weirdly shameful, even though you didn't do something wrong and you
That
were
you
young.
were just like a part of it, you're complicit with it. Or,
Yeah, but it can feel like, in some ways, it's a form of sexual abuse. Oh, that is awful to have to go through something like that.
And these are all true
Yeah.
stories.
But I love the guy. I love the story about the guy who wanted drugs.
Oh my god, they're just in the
He's like,
wrong place. Why are my drugs at?
Where are my drugs?
Where are my drugs? Order more drugs.
Where do I
They're
keep going
still
to the
not
cottage?
here.
I'm not getting my drugs.
Where are they?
Because his like family members got all. We keep getting all these drugs, so we have no idea where they're coming from.
Our like normal civilian everyday version of that is when you order something on Amazon and it's shipped to the wrong address.
Yeah.
But this is drugs.
It's like a comedic story to me.
Where my drugs at?
'Cause it's
Not
like,
here.
I'm just shipping you the drugs. You gave me the address, man.
Pretty funny.
Oh man.
Make a comedic version of it.
I can only imagine.
Write that.
I don't think you realize how funny that story is. Because then the guy got clean after that.
Yes.
According to the narrator,
It
the
had
guy
a
got
happy
clean.
ending.
Had a happy ending, man. He got caught, he got terrified, and he got clean after
He
that.
needed to put that one at the end so you feel a little better
Yeah,
at
because
the end of this video.
that's an uplifting story,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Our spin on
It's
it.
an awkward scenario. We keep getting these drugs we didn't order.
There's no return label.
There's no return
Where do I
label.
send these
I don't know.
to?
We should call the cops. Oh man, what an awkward scenario. I would love it if the family members got the drugs and they just started using the drugs.
Like, your
Like,
drugs?
They're
No.
drugs. Might as well.
No drugs.
No, man, I don't know the drugs. I don't know what the drugs are at. I don't know what the drugs are at.
Wait, you ordered drugs? I didn't order drugs.
I can imagine for a drug addict just like, free drugs!
My
I didn't pay
prayers
for it.
have been answered. The law of attraction
Yeah,
works.
keep it. No, we're gonna keep it. I can't get my hands on shrooms or ecstasy. I have so many friends who do all that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I want to try some, but I never get to.
Aww.
I gotta go to the deep.
So sad for him. Mixed emotions.
I need to go to the deep web now.
That's what you've learned? That was your takeaway?
In order to get the drugs I desire, I have to go to the deep web.
You can't Postmate that stuff.
Unfortunately, not. You'd think you could.
You'd think you could.
There should be some deep web app store, like
Deep Web Mate,
where you can get like some delivery service.
Wow, that
any
would
drug
be
you want. How cool would that be?
Any amount.
That's the future we're headed in.
Buy one shroom, get one free.
I think that's the next step. Instead of having to go to your computer and get a PC to access the deep web, there's going to be a deep web within the app store, a deep app store where you can get some
not
type
the regular app store, deep
Postmates
app store.
for drugs.
Whoa. That would be really crazy if we lived in a world when that is...
I could finally try shrooms.
You could finally try shrooms.
I hear it's great.
I don't know.
Although I did hear one story about a guy who thought hair was growing out of his eyeball, so he started shaving his eyeball, and he lost his eyeball.
That just gave me a physical, visceral feeling.
Can't you kind of just feel your eye tingling when you think that?
No.
It's like shaving your eyeball.
Greg, I wear contacts. I already have to touch my eyeball way too often.
I wear contacts too. I'm man enough to
shave. Does it freak you out?
No, I can feel a tingle in my eye.
I can feel it in my eye.
Because we've all had the feeling of shaving.
Stop touching my eye with your words. Your words are touching my eye. Stop touching my eye with your words. Well, that happened.
Well, I think that's going to be the app I work on.
You do you.
The deep, dark app.
I will not. I will stick to other things.
What would you call that app? What are the delivery apps called?
Postmates,
Grubhub.
Grubhub,
Drug Hub. Drug Hub.
That's it. There you go. Careful, someone's gonna steal your idea.
Oh, you.
Maybe this is gonna end up on the deep web.
Yeah, and I'll get sued for someone taking my idea. You guys shouldn't joke about things like that.
My
I'm not joking. I'm being 100% serious.
100%.
100%.
Hey, if you don't have a sense of humor, what do you have?
Seriousness? I don't know the next part to that.
You need to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, okay. Well, top 5 unknowns. Thanks for the interesting tale, and I appreciate you bearing your terrible stories of being on the deep web. All right. Well, you guys can subscribe to Top 5 Unknowns, subscribe to The Real Rejects, and click that notification bell. More importantly, follow Amy Castle. It's Amy Castle on Instagram, Twitter, and more importantly, the YouTubes.
The YouTubes.
Link in the description box.
Because I'm
Follow
going to be
her
live
now.
streaming and posting stuff. Yummy foods.
This photo will go on the deep web.
Maybe it will.
But I'm 28, so it's not going to count. I'm 27, actually.
You just aged yourself. Like, I went to your birthday. You are not older than me.